Merry Christmas, y'all. It's your boy Pee Wee the Plug, locked in all this summer long. Another day, another upload. So make sure you hit that like button for me. And if you're new and you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe. I'm enjoying the holidays. I got the Knicks game on right here, 28-27. The first quarter just ended. But I wanted to take some time out, not too much time, because I want y'all to enjoy y'all day and y'all holiday. But number one, I wanted to keep the streak alive. And number two, I wanted to send some love to y'all because I feel like we have, and when I say we, I mean my numbers on the board family and myself, we have built a community that has turned into one of the best communities, if not the best community in our industry. And y'all give us a lot of love, a lot of support as a collective, as individuals, and it's extremely instrumental into where we all are as a collective and as individuals. And for myself, speaking, I really don't know how I would have been able to stay focused and stay locked in on completing this everyday upload in the month of December without y'all. It started off as an idea, um, and the more and more I did it, the more excuses came up for me to stop. Right, even me getting sick was easily one of the things where I think the old me, or if I kept this goal to myself, that would have been something that I think could have strayed me away or allowed me to miss a day or two and have the proper excuse to be able to make that excuse for myself. And I wouldn't have been wrong. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to make anybody feel like being sick and not being able to accomplish something makes you a failure. But it's that support that I had, and it made me really grind through it. And it's been nice to be able to lean on. You know what I mean? There's certain days where it is tough creatively to think outside of the box, and I lean on y'all, and y'all have delivered. Even the last few days, I've made music content for the real first time, like real music content. A lot of times in the history of doing this podcast and the YouTube and stuff, I've talked about music, but I never extremely dove into it because I work in the music industry, so to speak, and I manage a rapper who is now at this time signed to Def Jam, and we're officially in the industry. I've always kind of tiptoed that line to try to make sure that I'm safe and, keeping my thoughts and my opinions to myself. But at the end of the day, it's just content and it's music that I love. And if somebody is offended by a pure, genuine expression of the art that I'm receiving, then man, so be it. And I feel like that nudge has really came from y'all. Now I do have my music friends and my music circle who is also, pushed me to be able to go out and do it and even flex. Is like, man, you gotta go do that, bro. But I feel like a lot of it came from y'all, and then to finally do it, and obviously I'm doing it on my second channel. It's not the main channel with the 60,000 subscribers, so the views don't come off as strong as the main channel. But that's not what the second channel is for. It's for those people who are dedicated and looking for that type of content. And I see the response, I see the activity, and that's what stands out to me, right? I'm not necessarily making some of my content to get a million views. It's more about what can I put out there that's going to drive and create conversation within my community and what they're going to be excited about. Because I feel like when I make content, I need it to have a certain feel and a certain vibration in the community. So, like, for instance, sometimes I'll drop a video and you'll see, like, or not even my videos, but sometimes you'll go on YouTube and you'll see somebody have a video and it's like 2,000 views with like 9 comments. That's cool that you got 2,000 views, but I like conversational things. I like when I drop a video and I leave and I go about my day and I come back and it's, even if it's only still 800, 900 views because it's on my second channel, but I love to see like 53 comments with 800 views, right? Because that means that there is a conversation that's had or being driven by y'all based off the content. And I know a lot of the times I'm going to set the tone to make sure that it's not a negative conversation being had. People are going to do whatever they want to do. We're in a social media age. People are going to find a way to troll and find a way to be negative if that's what they want to be. You know what I mean? But like I was telling my grandma yesterday at the Christmas Eve like party or get together, the internet is basically what you make it. You know what I mean? If you're a negative person who feeds into negative gossip BS, then yeah, that's all your timeline is going to be. If you're a positive person who's leaning mostly into positive content, and you have a certain style of content that you want to receive, then that's kind of what you're going to see on your For You page or your timeline. And every once in a while, things out of your control is going to pop up there. But I've said all of that to say we have been able to create something where there's a lot of positive conversation. And I think the conversations are what bring us together and allow us to be more in-depth people. You know what I'm saying? Being able to take other people's perspectives, opinions, even if they don't align with ours, and even if it ain't the same as ours or we don't agree, there's a proper way to agree to disagree. And I've been seeing a lot of that in the music videos that I've done, the top 10 or favorite albums and favorite mixtapes, where my 10 is going to be way different than yours. But because it is different, doesn't mean we have to negatively have a conversation or argue, you know what I mean, and be divisive towards each other. I see some of the other lists and I'm like, oh, like damn, like that's actually interesting. I kind of like the way that your list is shaping up. Or man, I forgot about that one. Or you know what I'm saying? Didn't make my top 10, but man, that was one of my favorites from so and so. And I just love those type of conversations for myself, but to be able to see it happening in the community, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air, so to speak. And I just want to take some time out along with showing y'all love and thanking y'all, just kind of acknowledging that and continuing to build upon that and let that be the message that that's what we want to cultivate. It's not a channel that I'm creating to be the biggest YouTuber in the world. If that obviously happens over time, I'm not running away from that. But the main ethos and the main point is to be able to create a safe space and a safe haven for people to come receive information, to be able to give information, to be able to learn, to be able to teach, to be able to communicate, and to be able to have a place to go to just be yourself and be your authentic, true self. There's nobody in this community that's trying to change you from being who you are. If you drop your 10 favorite albums and it's all trap music or it's all NBA Youngboy or SoundCloud music, there's nobody here that's telling you, man, you need to add more Nas to that. You need more lyrical content. No, be who you are and accept who you are and stand on that principle. And we're still going to welcome you with open arms, whether your 10 albums are from Jay-Z and Nas or from NBA Youngboy and Waka Flocka. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. If you up here saying some bullshit, you know what I'm saying? We definitely going to educate you. We definitely going to say, hey, you tripping a little bit. But if you genuinely like something and genuinely, have your own flavor, then it's no problem with that. And that's just something I've been seeing a lot on social media. That kind of bugs me. You know what I'm saying? We have the conversation a lot on social media. I mean, on the podcast about social media and how weird it is. You know what I mean? You can't really like shit unless it's popular. You know what I'm saying? It's just very, very odd. But I want to create something where we can continue to do this, where everybody can be themselves, everybody can walk in their own light and, be comfortable with who they are and what they like. Because at the end of the day, most of this shit is subjective anyway. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, you might really just sonically like a certain type of music that's different than what I like. We're two different people from two different lives, from two different neighborhoods and cities. So a LA person probably is going to have a lot more LA music. You know what I mean? Squabble up is not supposed to make sense to some of us that's in the Midwest or in the East Coast. It's supposed to make sense to a West Coast listener. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. So I just want to take time out to say that. And then I also wanted to say I want to give out a couple of gifts myself. And we are, if you have not heard, we are doing a book club over at Numbers on the Board. And we're going to start the book club shortly after Christmas. And what I want to do is I want to find 2 or 3 people and help y'all get the book. You know what I mean? The last people who are trying to get in a book club and, may not win the Numbers on the Board giveaway or anything like that. I want to make sure as many people as possible is able to get into the book club. A couple of reasons why the book club is important to me. Number one, I really do think it is extremely important to read. A lot of people say that growing up when we're in school, your teachers, your parents, you might have, a librarian that be in a library talking about how important it is to read. And as a youngster and a young person, it is very easy to gloss over that. You know what I mean? I can admit when I was 16 and people were saying that, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is when you're a young person. And the problem was, I think for me and some of my peers, and like yourself, we're hearing it from older people. But what I love about us at the podcast is we're not that much older than y'all. We're older than y'all, and times were a little different when we were growing up because y'all were being born in the 2000s. That's when we were, in our early stages of going to the store and doing it. So yeah, brownies and chips and shit, they were definitely a quarter and not 55 and 60 cent. And McChickens, McDonald's had $1 menu versus now where everything is $3 and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I think it hits different when there's somebody closer to your age giving you information and telling you how important things is versus somebody 55. A 55 telling something to a 16 or 17-year-old, there's a very big gap. But a 28-year-old, a 29-year-old telling a 19-year-old is only a 10 age gap. It's like, hey, I'm telling you some real game that I wish I had when I was y'all age. I wish I had somebody who was in their mid 20s, late 20s, early 20s telling me how important it is to read. And I feel like there is so much information in a lot of these books that can be so life-changing in your early 20s and late teens. When I was 19 years old, I remember graduating high school. I graduated at 18, but that year after graduating, it can be a very strong year for a lot of people. And I talked about this to a lot of fans off the record, like in DMs. A lot of advice that people have asked for has been about this. And what I always tell them is it's so funny how many of us go through this, but it's like when you graduate, if you don't go to some crazy major university, you kind of feel behind and stuck. And it feels like the rest of your peers who are going to the Michigan universities and the North Carolinas and North Carolina states and, all of these big prestigious schools, and they're going away. If you're not doing that, for some reason, you feel like a failure at 19. It feels like at 19 and 20, you're supposed to have all of the answers figured out. You're supposed to know exactly what you're doing. You're supposed to have your career set in stone. You should be on your way to buying your first house. And I don't know why, but at 19, you feel the weight of the world. I don't know why it's that age either. It's like 19, 20, the weight of the world just kind of falls on your shoulders. And you're like, damn, I don't have a house yet. Damn, I'm not in my career field yet. Like, oh my goodness, life is passing me by. And it's like, dog, you just getting started. But I say all that to say, I've come across a lot of books at 28, 27, and 26, because that's when I really started to dive in about 26 into these books that are not necessarily my cup of tea. So I've always been a reader, but a lot of the reading I did was like music and sports. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the books behind me, see Kobe, LeBron, and Lamar Odom, and you know what I mean? Like, it's a Jay-Z book back there. It was like music and sports. But a lot of these other books I've gotten into, which are like history, self-help books, even a couple of the fiction books that I have, there's a point and a message that's being delivered. And I often read them, or even a book like this book right here, which I've talked about on this channel before, The Four Agreements. Atomic Habits, Contagious, which is a book I'm going to reread. Contagious. There are so many books. The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Like, these books would have done so much for me at a 19-year-old stage. They're doing so much for me at 29 that I look back and I say, man, if I would have leaned into this 10 years earlier, I would have saved myself a lot of trouble and stress by overthinking life and feeling like I'm so out of place and I'm so behind, when really I was in the perfect stage for myself. Life is just a race with your individual self. It's kind of like golf. That's why golf is such an amazing sport, is because it's like, in theory, yeah, in the main, on the surface level, it feels like it's a competition. But the main big picture in golf and in life is the only competition you have is yourself. See, the only thing you're competing with is you. In golf, the scorecard, which is again surface level, shows that I'm behind him or I'm in front of him. But the main part of the game that you have to think for yourself mentally is I want to have a better swing than I did the last hole. Right? I want to keep outdoing myself. I have to keep outdoing myself. The minute you start to look at the scorecard, or you start to worry about the people that you're golfing with, you're out of the game. That's the minute you're out of the game, because then you're gonna go and lose it. You have to compete with yourself, and I feel like life is kind of the same way. The minute you start looking at your peers, the minute you start comparing yourself to others and where they are and where you aren't and what they have and what you don't have, is the minute you kind of ski off into life. You venture off. To get back on track, you have to remember that you're only in a race with yourself. If you don't become a millionaire until you're 50, who gives a fuck? Are you going to be mad? No. You're going to be like, hey, I got my million. You know, like, if success doesn't come until you're 30, are you going to be mad? It's like, no, I'm successful. What you want in life should not change depending on what anybody else has or what anybody else is doing. You know what I mean? For the better or for the worse. I don't get success and look down at people like, ha, like, because that's not what it's about. I was never competing with you in the first place. And I don't look up at people that's quote unquote ahead of me or have more than me like, damn you, because I'm not competing with you anyway. I'm just trying to be as best as I can as an individual and get the most out of my life, because I only have one to live. I want to fulfill as much as I can and make as big of an impact as I can into the world in my one life, because that's what's important to me. And I feel like everybody should figure out the ethos and the thing that's going to fulfill them the most in their life, and like chase that and make that be your competition. Make that be your goalpost, not other people, because life is like just a crazy thing where you want what you don't have. And you know what I'm saying? It's like we always want what we don't have. So it's, and it's somebody that will always want what we have. You know what I mean? It's like I talked about, I think on somewhere I talked about it, but on Instagram or like TikTok or something, I seen this video where there was this dude. It kept trickling down, right? There was somebody that was like, there was a guy driving, and he was like in traffic or something, right? And he was in a nice car, but he was like, man, I wish I had a plane, because then he would just go to wherever he was going. And then it went to the next slide, and it was like somebody at the bus stop was looking at him in his nice car and was like, damn, I wish I had that car. You know what I'm saying? And then it was somebody else that was like scrolling to the bus stop like, damn, I wish I could stand at the bus stop in my legs. And I'm missing some of the steps because there was somebody in a bike, and there was somebody like, oh, I wish I had a bike. But the point is, every time you look at your situation and be like, damn, I wish I had this, there is literally somebody else who was wishing they had what you had. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as we like, damn, I wish I had a bigger crib. I wish I had a better car. I wish I had this or was that. There's somebody that's literally looking at what you have like, damn, I wish I just had a home. I wish I just had this. So keep that in mind. Again, happy holidays. I try not to take too much time. Penny just came in. We about to enjoy our Christmas. And I wanted to send y'all love, tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all. And yeah, make sure y'all get active in the comments. I'm going to randomly select 2 or 3 people, and I'm going to make sure that y'all are able to get the book, The Ancient Generation, so that y'all can be in a book club, because that was the main point, man. It's just so much that I feel like is there to offer in these books for a lot of y'all that are, 19, 20, early 20s, going into the prime years of your life, feeling like the world is, falling and collapsing on your shoulders. Come to the book club, get some information, and I'm going to make sure when it's my turn to recommend a book or introduce a book, that is something that's going to be helpful and allow people to progress in life and figure out what it is that fulfills them. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow we'll be back with more content. So yeah, enjoy your holidays. I'm out. Peace.